Hey everyone, so I just wanted to go ahead and give a brief introduction before I go ahead and get started with my presentation. So for those that don't know me, my name is Jenna Hargett and I am from Perry, Georgia. I am currently majoring in animal biosciences with a minor in dairy science. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with y'all and get started. So just give me one quick moment. Alrighty, so today I will be doing my presentation on African swine fever, which can be abbreviated by ASF. Just a little bit about me. I grew up raising and showing swine. So there are several pictures throughout this presentation from my pigs back home. Um, I'm going to give a review of ASF, which is a viral disease, as well as strategies for prevention. So moving on with the introduction, it is a highly contagious viral disease impacting swine, and it has a mortality rate that can approach 100% in domestic pigs. The symptoms do vary depending on the different virus strains, anywhere from highly acute cases that are lethal to also subclinical cases. Acute infection by highly virulent ASF viruses causes hemorrhagic fever and ultimately death. To the left are just several pictures of pigs from back home. Moving on, the map to the left does depict the impacted countries. ASF was initially recognized in Kenya in the 1920s. Um, and now it's currently prevalent within China, which is the big yellow country in Asia. Moving on up to the red colored Mongolia. Down below China in Vietnam, several regions within the European Union, and also more recently within the Dominican Republic and Haiti, which is southeast to the United States. It is important to note that thus far it has not been detected within the United States, fortunately. Moving on, African swine fever virus, abbreviated by ASFV. It is a large double-stranded DNA virus that replicates within the cell cytoplasm. It is the only member of its family, and there are no closely related viruses. I'm going to go ahead and talk about these pictures up top. So on the far left, it just goes over the different parts, including from the outside to the inside, the outer envelope, capsid, inner membrane, matrix cell, and also in the center, the genomic DNA. There are also several depictions to the right of that. The ASFV genome varies from approximately 170 to 193 kilobase pairs, and it codes for 150 to 167 proteins, including those used for replication. Moving on, the target cells are macrophages, which are cells of the innate immune system that represent an important component of the first line of defense against pathogens and also tumor cells. We did talk about this a lot in class, but basically they're vital for the immune system. And to the right is a picture depicting that. There are two different routes of transmission. So one being direct contact and the second one being through indirect contact, whether that be through contaminated feed, fomites, or infectious ticks. It is important to note that ASFV can only infect pigs. Therefore, it's not really much of a food safety concern or at all a human health threat. Um, I like this picture over here to the right from the Center of Food Safety from the government of Hong Kong. It shows that direct contact with infected pigs, infectious soft ticks, the ingestion of contaminated carcasses or food waste through swill feeding, which is basically feeding scraps to livestock, and also the contaminated vehicles and equipment such as boots, clothing, and other farm equipment can cause pigs to become susceptible to this virus. Moving along, the diagnosis. Clinical signs vary from acute to chronic forms. The acute cases show high fever, anorexia, hemorrhages, and also high mortality rates approaching that again 100%. Chronic forms may display such as respiratory or digestive forms, which does complicate the ability to properly diagnose African swine fever. Um, the diagnosis can occur through clinical signs, postmortem evaluation, and also lab testing, such as PCR, virus isolation, serology, and histopathology. So in this picture from the Illinois College of Veterinary Medicine, it shows the signs and symptoms that are common with African swine fever, starting out with the high fever, vomiting, diarrhea, appetite loss, respiratory disease, weakness, and also more notably, the red blotchy skin with wounds on the ears, abdomen, and the legs of the animal. African swine fever has led to the loss of millions of animals and has had a huge economic impact. So right now I'm going to focus mainly on China, who is a leading global pork producer and home to more than half of the global pig population. Their herd size decreased approximately 30 to 50% in 2019 and also had reductions in production, with that being 25% and then 10 to 15% in 2020. There have been import restrictions for the country, and the total indirect losses to the producers in all sectors have been estimated to be 14.5 billion. The map to the left shows the direct economic losses in $1,000 for the different Chinese sectors, ranging from the yellow color with not as much of an economic impact to the darker red, which is showing the high economic impact. Moving on, there are several strategies for prevention. However, it is again important to note that there is no vaccine available at the time. So prevention, therefore, is key. There are several biosecurity measures, such as maintaining farm hygiene protocols, quarantining suspected animals with the disease, isolating new animals that occur or come onto the farm, physical barriers, sanitation protocols, pest control, and also just performing regular health checks on the current animals. Moving on, it is also important to raise awareness within the community and also know that emergency response plans and disease outbreaks or disasters are critical. And the picture to the right depicts a poster from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, just giving a little bit more information about African swine fever to the public, as well as a phone number to report sick pigs, and a website to go for more information from APHIS. Moving along, I'm just going to go ahead and do my conclusion. So just to recap, African swine fever is a significant threat to global swine populations. There are devastating consequences and financial loss. Prevention through strict biosecurity measures is vital, as well as a strong emergency response plans that can mitigate the impact. All right, on this last slide are just several resources that are found within this PowerPoint, as well as in the paper that I am turning in. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. And if y'all have any questions or comments regarding the presentation, definitely reach out to me either now or whenever we return from spring break. I hope everyone has safe travels to whether they're going home or somewhere else. Have fun. All right. Bye-bye, y'all. Have a good day.